In this video, I want to look at combining functions using arithmetic. So adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. To add, we have f plus g of x, so the addition of two functions is equal to f of x plus g of x. We just take the two functions and add them. For subtraction, we have f minus g of x would be f of x minus g of x. F times g of x would be f of x g of x. And finally, f over g of x is equal to f of x over g of x. So let's look at some examples of applying these rules. Here I have two functions, f of x equal to x squared minus 3 and g of x equal to x plus 4, and I want to find f plus g of x. In order to do this, I just take these two functions and add them. I have f of x is x squared minus 3 and g of x is x plus 4. And then we can add them to get x squared plus x plus 1. So I have my function. I then want to find f plus g of 2, and there's going to be two ways to do this. The first way is to use the function we just found. So we have f plus g of 2 would be 2 squared plus 2 plus 1, or 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is 7. The second way would be to look at each of these individually. We start by finding f of 2. That would be 2 squared minus 3, which is the same as 4 minus 3, or 1. We then find g of 2, which is 2 plus 4, or 6. And then we would get f plus g of 2 by just adding these two numbers together. 1 plus 6 gives us 7. The next one I want to find is f minus g of x. So for this one, I would start with f of x, and I would subtract g of x. We need to make sure to distribute that negative sign. This is x squared minus 3 minus x minus 4, which gives me x squared minus x minus 7. I then want to find f minus g of negative 1. The first way to do this would be to use what we just found and plug in negative 1. I would have negative 1 squared minus negative 1 minus 7. That gives me 1 plus 1 minus 7, or negative 5. The alternative way, let's start by finding f of negative 1. That would be negative 1 squared minus 3, or 1 minus 3, which is negative 2. We can then find g of negative 1. That would be negative 1 plus 4, or 3. And then to find f minus g, we would need to subtract these. Negative 2 minus 3 is equal to negative 5. The next one I want to find is fg, the product. So for this, I multiply f, which is x squared minus 3, times g, which is x plus 4. This would give me x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3x minus 12. The next one I want to do is fg of negative 2. My first way is going to be to evaluate this function that we just found. That gives me negative 2 cubed plus 4 times negative 2 squared minus 3 times negative 2 minus 12. This is negative 8. Negative 2 squared is 4 times 4 is positive 16, plus 6 minus 12, which gives me 2. Alternatively, we start by finding f of negative 2. That's negative 2 squared minus 3. Negative 2 squared is 4, and 4 minus 3 is 1. We can then find g of negative 2. That would be negative 2 plus 4, which is equal to 2. So in order to find the product fg of negative 2, we would multiply 1 times 2 to get 2. Finally, I want to look at f over g of x. For this one, we would put f on the top of the fraction, so x squared minus 3, over, and then g on the bottom, x plus 4. In order to find f over g of 1, we'll start by evaluating this thing we just found at 1. This would be 1 squared minus 3 over 1 plus 4. That's the same as 1 minus 3 over 5, or negative 2/5. Alternatively, f of 1 would be 1 squared minus 3, or just negative 2. G of 1 would be 1 plus 4, which is 5. So in order to find f over g, I would divide these and get negative 2 over 5. And once again, they do match.